Welcome everyone to our dwelling of darkness. Once again, you've come to the Otaku's Lounge. I'm your host, Herbert.
Yo, every week with the energy, this guy.
Hey,
We're talking a lens.
One of us has to have the energy, man.
I mean, I got energy. Don't get me wrong, but like you never cease to amaze me. Good job.
So how's it happening, people? All you people, I guess. Well, I can't say beautiful people because everyone says beautiful people. And I don't want to say ugly people. That's offending everybody.
You don't want to lie either.
Exactly.
You're all 5 out of 10s in my book. Still love you though.
Haven't seen you. Once I meet you can go up or down. But until I meet you, you're a solid 5. So.
Word. I assume I'll like you in real life.
Exactly.
All right.
Anyway, once again, we're back with a new episode. We're going to do a review this time.
Yeah, we're going to review Overlord.
Now, it's been probably could have done this sooner, but wanted to delve deep. I wanted to catch up with the light novels, because it is a light novel series.
It is a light novel series.
Fantastic light novel series. The anime is, I feel like, obviously as an anime, as a light novel anime, it doesn't have as much detail as the light novel.
I mean, like, it's also a light novel about a fictional, it's another isekai.
It's D&D.
It's D&D.
It's just D&D.
It's a D&D isekai. and with D&D, if you've ever played before, there's so much character sheets and stats and background. Like,
There's depth.
There's depth.
How deep does it go? How deep's your imagination?
Not wrong.
But yeah, so want to tell them the 5 categories again, since it's been a bit?
All right, just to refresh everybody's mind out there, the way that we break down anime, break it down to 5 categories. The plot, characterization, style, attention to detail, and the hype factor.
Hype!
So let's get started. We want to start off with plot?
All right, plot. So this is the future, and there's a huge game, a huge MMORPG that's going on. That kind of similar. Actually, no, it's just a regular MMORPG. I was gonna say kind of similar to how SAO works, but no, it's actually just a regular MMORPG.
Yeah, you play on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, and as you're playing, no, I'm wrong. It is a VR.
Is it really? Oh,
Yes.
You're right.
Yes, my bad. That is my mistake. So it does work like SAO. I want to say it works better. At least the game rules and mechanics.
Well, at least you're not trapped.
Yeah, true, and not entirely, but I will say that the game rule and mechanics are solidified. Like they constantly tell you how the game worked and how those rules are set in stone. Unlike in SAO where it's like, if I try hard enough, I can break the game, aka Kirito. This is just like, well, this is how the game works. I just gotta deal with it.
You gotta just follow the rules.
So
yeah, in the year 2126, I think.
Yeah, we have our regular roles.
Well, that's when the game was released.
Yeah, so this is probably like a few years after release. It's
12 years.
There you go.
Yeah, 12 years after its release, the servers are shutting down. It's always a sad day when servers are shutting down.
Yeah, especially when it's one of your favorite games,
Facts.
But we have our main character who actually, I remember they mentioned his name one time, literally one time in the entire story, and it's just in the beginning, and it's of so little importance that they never mention it again. You don't have to worry about it. Basically, all you need to know is this guy's a salaryman, standard salaryman, office job, cubicle. He really is not social though, but he has a good number of friends in the game. He's the head of a guild called Ainz. At their peak, they were ranked, if I remember, 5th in the entire world for top guilds.
Only 5th?
Yeah, they were never number 1.
That's fair. It's tough. It's tough being the best in the world.
Especially when you have events such as the World's Combat Tournament, which is basically every player can get into, as many as they want, get into a tournament to see who wins. And if you win, you get a piece of world champion armor. And freaking one of the founders of our main guild, he has the entire set.
Word.
So he's consecutive champion. He won enough times to get the full set of armor. So
what a beast.
I will say though, while they were 5th, that was mostly because of, I guess, the lack of. They were rated based on also not only how strong you are, but how much you did in the world, so like raids and stuff.
Yeah.
But they were, I think, rated and if not number one, top 3 in terms of guild defense. No one had ever broken past like the 4th floor of their guild hall.
Hold?
Hall.
Hall. Yeah. Guild hall.
Yeah. So no one had ever gotten past 4th floor. It was just that impenetrable because this is broken.
Yeah, they were pretty broken. Yeah, it was pretty insane.
Well, getting ahead of ourselves now. But yeah, so he's in the game. He invited all his buddies who still played the game to say, hey, you know, if you guys want to get on for the last time.
Servers are shutting down, and I know we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, so one other guy showed up, but he's like, oh, you know, I'm pretty tired. I just came to say hi, you know, thanks for everything. Hopefully I'll see you in another game. And dipped. So then he was by himself. He's just wandering around, you know, messing with some settings because it's going to end anyway, whatever. And then he's just like, yeah, you know, I'll stay logged in until the game force shuts me out. So he's just chilling in the throne with his OP staff, his god-slaying staff. Yeah. And then it gets to midnight, and then he, you know, opens his eyes as he was sitting there. He's still in the game.
Yeah, he's expecting to wake up, you know, at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still in the game.
Except it's not a game anymore.
It's another world. Hooray! It's another isekai.
One of the cool things though is that unlike How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, where it's also, you know, video game world, the only thing that's the same for him in terms of this world is his headquarters and all the NPCs that are in it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's basically as if his mind was stuck in the game, and then just his guild hall, which is known as the Tomb of Nazarick, is underground. Just the entire tomb, anyone inside of it, and himself were transported to this other world. So, but the world functions similarly to the game, which is why there are some similarities, but there are differences too. So, but because if you apply video game stats and how much someone can grind in a video game and then apply that to a world where that can actually become physical strength, you can imagine how brolic someone would be.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous how powerful he is. So, all right, as you do in isekai anime, you have to figure out your situation. So he's like, all right, where am I? What's different? What's the same? What can I use? And, you know, are there any other people here with me?
I'll tell you what's not the same. The NPCs are alive now.
Yeah, NPCs are alive. They're sentient. They have their own, like, thoughts and feelings based off of their creation, of course.
Now, this game, I want to point out, was so detailed that when you made an NPC, you also wrote down how they behave, how they act, some of their likes, some of their dislikes, you know, their backstory. Like, it's basically just virtual D&D.
It's D&D.
Yeah. And it got so in detail. So, Albedo, one of our favorite NPC characters in this story.
What are your favorite?
Well, one of the community's favorites. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm not the only one. Our friend Daniel already says that she's like the best. He messed with her settings when it was still a game because he was like, oh, you know, this will be funny. So changed the settings so that it says he's madly in love with Momonga, which is his character's name. Mm-hmm. So now that it's real, well, it's not a setting anymore.
Yeah, it just became her actual personality.
Yeah. And so his character's an Elder Lich. For those that don't know, think of just a skeleton that's also a necromancer and can command other skeletons and undead.
Yeah. So we got a little off topic. To get back to the plot, essentially, he now has to figure out what's going on with the world, and in order to gather information and hopefully find someone else if there is another player, he decides, you know what? I need to attract attention. A lot of attention. Yep. Like, the most attention you could possibly attract. So he decides, I'm going to rule the world.
Well, that's technically no. No. So what happened with that is he goes outside and, like, is flying around with his other NPC Demiurge, and he just made a passing comment saying, oh man, this landless world looks so beautiful. It would kind of be nice to rule it. It was a passing comment that he was just saying, talking out loud, thinking out loud. But because Demiurge is such an obedient servant, he told everyone else, and then they came up with this plan so that he could rule the world, but he didn't know. Which is why a lot of times they'll be like, something will happen, and Demiurge will fix his glass and be like, it's all according to cake. Cake means keikaku. Keikaku means plan. Thank you, Team 4-Star, DBZ Abridged, for that line. I'm giving credit where credit is due.
It's a good, it's a good line.
But yeah.
So sorry, he doesn't plan on taking over the world, but that's essentially the course of action.
Yup. And we have 3 seasons so far, and the first 3 seasons cover the first 9 books. So that's a lot. And that was just that story was called the Adventurers arc, which literally volume 9 ends with saying this is the end of the Adventurers arc. Next book starts the Conquerors arc.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So overall, like I'd say that like it's fun. Like the plot, it's him trying to figure out, you know, all of these answers in like of his new world and trying to adapt. But it's the way that he goes about it, you know, the strategy, I don't want to say manipulation, but you know, manipulation is part of it. It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But you know, like he plays both sides of the field. He's an undercover agent, like for his own cause. It's great.
It's great. I will say you will really enjoy it more if you play D&D. If you enjoy D&D, you'll enjoy it more. And I want to say the reason for that is because the author is a former D&D player, and he only started writing because his buddies couldn't play D&D with him anymore. So for all we know, all these characters, this whole story, all the character sheets that are in the light novels, they could just be characters that were going to be used for their next campaign. But, you know,
I think it's a really good way of watching the series. Just imagine an insane D&D campaign that you're going on.
Yeah, and like learning that it all made sense, which is why there's a lot of detail. Like especially when you read it goes into so much detail, and you realize this is all because of it's like a D&D campaign. You need detail in a D&D campaign because the little details can give away so much if you're you know, observant.
Like the plot is very fleshed out, you know, and I really like the direction. So the first season was pretty good. I really like the second season because of what they did. Like they focused a lot on minor characters, and those minor characters played major roles, and those major roles became just huge plot points, and it grew and grew and became something very just very streamlined and super fun to watch.
I have a feeling Sebas is one of your favorite characters. So.
Sebas is dope. Demiurge is dope too. Shaltier is dope. Like there's a lot of characters I really like.
My favorite is Cocytus.
Cocytus?
Yeah.
Is that the beetle guy?
That's the ice beetle guy.
Ice beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really cool.
He just looks fucking cool.
He's an honorable guy.
Yeah, man. And he's like, yeah, you know, I want to give you a good fight, so I'll use 1 arm out of my 4.
So would you give it in terms of plot?
Well, I'm biased because I love D&D.
Okay.
So I feel like I have to give it 2 ratings because of that. One is, you know, from a non-D&D perspective, one from a D&D perspective. So I feel from a non-D&D perspective, I'd give it probably like a 6.273.
You're the worst. How about from the other perspective?
From the D&D, as a D&D fan, I would say like a 8.194.
I can't even follow you. Well, I would say that like from an unbiased standpoint, I would give it a solid 8. And you want to know why? Mm-hmm. Because it's the story of a guy discovering. That's it. It's you're placed in like it's isekai to its truest like.
It's actually just a pure adventure.
It's a pure adventure. Yeah. You know, it's just I need to find out where I am, and I have these goals, and you know there are obstacles in my way, and it's just like, all right, let's go. And it's not like some grand ideal he's fighting for, but it is a grand adventure.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's a huge adventure. You know, I gotta give it a solid 8.
It's like if you drop someone, if back in the day before America was discovered, quote unquote, if you drop someone from Europe just randomly in North America,
they'd be like, okay, what is this? Where am I? I gotta figure stuff out.
First thing is survival.
Yeah, first thing is survival. So yeah, I gave it an 8. On to characterization.
Oh boy, the characters.
I'm gonna give my rating first. 10. In terms of characterization, solid 10. You want to know why? They try really hard. There are so many characters, and you know each of their desires. You know what
alignments.
Alignments. You know, like where they're from, who they fight for, who they know. Just every character is fleshed out because it's a goddamn D&D campaign.
Even the super minor ones.
Yo, those character sheets are filled out. I want a D&D with the author because he obviously knows what he's doing.
Yo, man, it looks like he's been doing D&D for decades, honestly.
Oh yeah.
It's like just skill and oh man, I have to agree with you. Solid 10 for characterization.
Bro, like, all right. So
I can't. I'd give it decimals, but there's nothing.
Because here's how much like we had to go through.
Yeah.
We have Ainz going himself. Well, Momonga himself. He changes his name to the name of the guild because reasons.
So the reason he changed his name to the name of the guild is he figured if he wants to spread, he wants to find out if there's other players, and the easiest way is if there's other players, they wouldn't recognize his name per se, but they would definitely recognize the name of the guild, and especially if they're his fellow guild members that were there. So if he uses the name of the guild and uses that to pronounce his, his presence and everything, people would be like, if they're a player, like, I remember that. I'm gonna go. That clearly has to be a player. Let me go meet them. Yeah. And then boom.
So not only do you have himself that the story had to characterize, you have the floor guardians: Albedo, Shaltir, Demiurge, Coctis,
Aura
Mare, Victim, Gargantua. Then you have the whole like battle maid squad.
The Pleiades.
Each of them has a name. Yuri, Gamma,
Narbadel, Gamma.
Well, they're all like it goes from Alpha down to like Omega, but like
Lupus Regina.
One of their names is CZ2128.
Yeah.
I hate that name, but it's their name.
I have a feeling if I had to guess, that's probably from the guy, Mizakazuchi, as a player, because his freaking sword is just his name, but then followed by a version number.
And what's ridiculous is that you hear about these people who played the game with the main character before he was actually in it, but you never really see them. Like, you see
in flashbacks.
In flashbacks, sure, but they're very fleshed out. You learn about them. You learn about like what type of person they are in just passing.
Just like Lord Touch Me-san. That's his name. Touch Me is his name.
And Pepperoncino.
But the reason I mentioned Touch Me is because Touch Me is actually the one who recruited Momonga in the beginning.
Yes.
Momonga was getting picked on because he was a skeleton. He was a necromancer, and other players were like, "Oh well, we're human. We're gonna slay the evil character." Ooh. And then Touch Me came in and was like, "Yo, fuck all of you." Mind you, by this point, Touch Me already had world champion status. He had
Mad Brolic already.
So, yeah, I'm almost afraid to think. This is a theory. There's nothing grounded with this. There's no spoilers here. This is just a theory of mine, based on how the story is going. That I feel like at the end, Touch Me will have actually been in the game and he'll be a player, and because of things that Ainz is doing, and how Touch Me always acted, they will clash, and it'll be a bittersweet reunion because they'll finally meet again, but they'll have to fight each other.
Classic Gold Roger's alive theory.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. He got beheaded, and
what Marine's gonna take down a king of pirates? Come on, that's bullshit. I don't believe it. Come on now.
But
you're king of pirates and you get bodied by a regular low class Marine. Fuck out of here.
But yeah. So like Len said, you got all those, and then besides that, because even though those are minor characters, those are technically the main characters.
Those are the main characters. You still have literally the rest of the world, which is being fleshed out. They have their own two separate kingdoms.
Three
separate kingdoms, a bunch of towns, just minor characters. There's so much.
Well, there's 3 that we know from the anime, but when you read, there's actually more. I think there's like 6 to 8 total. We've already visited the Dwarven Kingdom.
How's mad work?
And I think we're gonna visit the Elven Republic.
It's mad work. I have to give it a 10. I can't give it a 10. I can't not give it a 10 because there's so many characters all fleshed out. Fantastic.
One of the minor characters, Climb. Super minor character compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
But super fleshed out, and like I said, he has an arc, and he has I don't know if I mentioned this before, but to the audience, but at the end of most of the light novels, they had character sheets for every character, like with stats, maybe some abilities, alignment, stuff like that. And Climb is his own sheet. Like he's not even that important compared to everyone else.
Yeah. But he has it.
He has
it's there.
It's just so much detail in these characters. Love and care, man.
Love and care. All right, so that's it for characterization. Obvious 10.
Yep.
How about style?
It's super pretty.
It is pretty. It is pretty.
It is pretty. Like the quality of the standard stuff when there's no action is not bad. You can see they put more money towards when there's action, obviously, as most anime do. But it's not like it's much of a downgrade from when they're just talking.
Yeah, things do look good, and like the just everybody's design is very original, very different from each other. Just
Ainz made me want to play a necromancer in D&D. He looks fucking dope.
I like his mage wardrobe. Like when he wears the brown, he looks like a monk.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, you look like a monk, but you're a necromancer and you're a skeleton, and this is great.
Man, it's just so good. His regal wear is just super dope too, man.
Oh yeah, like he looks dope at all times.
I mean, when you're royalty, no, sorry, he's royalty, but to his NPCs, he's a god.
True.
Because the NPCs literally know that they were made by the players, but they don't see them as players; they see them as gods.
Yeah.
So, and parents. So, god/parents.
Godparents.
Yeah. Not literally, but you get the idea. So yeah, like it's really nicely done in terms of visuals.
It is.
I'd have to give it.
I'm giving it a 9. It's not the best I've seen. It's not the best in the world, but it's good. Like, and especially for seasonal, like a seasonal anime, like it just top of the line stuff.
Say 8.
Okay.
Point.
Oh God.
7.
I know you're not done. 8.7.
0.3. But
there it is. There it is. Oh, by the way, did you give that 10 anything? Was it not a 10?
Well, 10's the highest. I can't go any higher than 10.
You didn't want to say 10.000?
I mean, that's redundant.
I'm just saying.
Do you want me to?
No, I don't.
All right, then. I only give a decimal point if there is a decimal point. If it's just zeros, then why bother? That's lame. That's like saying when you go to fill her up and they're like, and you say, "Can I get $20?" They'll be like, "That'll be $20.00." Just tell me $20.
I mean, it's being specific.
Fuck you.
All right. On to attention to detail.
10. 0.000.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
It goes back to the characterization.
For example, in the second season, when we met the lizard men,
yep.
Right? It was out of nowhere. It was like, okay, I guess we're just learning about new characters now.
Well, no, season 1 mentioned it. Very end of season 1 mentioned it. They're like, oh, we found a village of lizard men.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So they go into like the lizard men arc for like 2 episodes, and you see them struggle with like a situation that they're dealing with, and it happens to become a situation that involves Ainz, and
that they don't know of at the moment.
They didn't know.
But we know.
we knew, but they didn't. And then that grew because they eventually became important to a plan that happened in like the 3rd season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like things are intertwined and interwoven.
We learned about their culture.
Yeah,
Lizard Men culture. In like 2-3 episodes, we learned a lot about their culture.
Yeah.
And them as a people.
We learned about just minor characters. We learned about like the way that their like government works. We learned about their problems. We learned about alchemy.
Let's put it this way: there's so much detail, and I'm gonna in the anime, but to emphasize how much detail is already in it. In the light novels, when we get to the Dwarven Kingdom, I could draw you a map.
What?
I could draw you a map.
Was there a map drawn?
No.
Come on.
I can draw you a map.
That's ridiculous.
I can draw you a fucking map.
That's a lot.
Like, it's not for the entire Dwarven Kingdom, but just the key locations. I can get you to from the entrance through some tunnels, through the abandoned city, into the central hub of the kingdom, into the mines. I could get you there.
That's silly. And that's written.
That's
oh,
written.
Jeez.
But it was rich. I love that. You know what I mean? I love that much detail. It's like, as much as it is to visualize what it could be, like how with certain books, the whole point of when you read it is that your imagination creates a lot of things. When an author puts that much detail into it, I feel I enjoy the experience because I don't have to imagine it. I'm seeing someone else's world. I'm seeing what their vision is, you know, and that in turn gives me ideas for my own visions. So
that's fair. That's a good point. Attention to detail. 10. All right. On to the final, arguably most important.
Hype.
That was a weak hype, bro.
Well, I don't want to be too loud.
Hype? Hype factor.
With a capital Y.
Why a capital Y?
You want to hold that Y.
All right, that's fair. All right, so it's exciting. I'll definitely give it that. My thing is, it takes a little time to get to excitement.
It does.
Because it's a world that is so rich in detail and things are laid down specifically, it takes a little bit of time. I think you'll enjoy the ride getting to the hype moments. And, you know, I think they do pay off.
They do.
You know, it's not the craziest battles I've ever seen, but
It's the most one-sided battles.
it's the...
You ever wonder what it's like to see 70,000 people die in an instant? We'll find out.
There you go. It's pretty much like reading a story all up until the final battle, and the final battle is between a man and an ant. Not a colony, not a special ant, not a giant ant, just an ant. So, like, in terms of, like, is this going to be a good fight? Probably not, but it's still fun.
I will say, though, most of the fights in the 3 seasons don't involve Ainz.
Yeah, because if they did, they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't.
With Ainz, in terms of who he fights, we've had, let me see. One of them was the end of season 1, which that was a hype fight, but that's because he was fighting someone that was like almost as equal as him in power.
Yeah. Oh well. Before that, he fought.
That wasn't hype though.
It was alright.
It was more like...
It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny for us because we're like, oh, so that's how broken he is.
Yeah.
But like the end of season 1, that fight it's a close fight. Like he could have actually died.
True.
And that fight is hype. And the one at the end of season 3, that big one, that's hype not because of the fight itself, but because of how he wins.
The scale.
The scale.
The scale of it all.
That's a hint for you guys. Goats.
So
Just be terrified of that sound for the rest of your life. I can't think. I can't because of that. I can't picture goat sounds the same anymore.
Really, that traumatized, huh?
It was more like the light novel made it traumatizing for me because the light novel. Because like, again, I had read this before I saw the visual, so my mind made up something way worse. It was similar but way worse. Gotcha. So I was sold, and then when I saw what it's supposed to look like, I'm okay. It's not as bad, but heaven forbid I ever met one of those things in real life.
Oh no, like we would die. It would be over, man.
Nothing is safe.
So what are you giving it for hype factor?
While it is hype in moments, it doesn't necessarily carry through the whole series. So I'm gonna give it a 7.436.
That was close to what I was gonna give it a flat 7.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's,
You know, it's don't get me wrong, like it's great,
yeah.
but you know, you're not there for the hype.
You're not there for the hype. You're there for the story, the adventure, and the characters. And yeah, you know, that's pretty much it. So overall, what would you give it?
Well, considering
It has 2 10s in there.
It has 2 10s.
Actually, this is the first anime we've given any 10.
That's very true. That's very true.
Let alone 2.
Well, that's just it's all right. Because here's the thing: while we gave it 10 for characterization and attention to detail, I think I can't weigh those as heavily.
No, I'm saying they're just impressive.
Oh, it's very impressive.
I'm not saying they weigh heavily because from a watching anime standpoint, they don't necessarily are gonna weigh as heavily as other categories.
Yeah, very true. I think overall, I'm gonna give it 8.5, 8.5.
I was thinking around there.
Yeah, because it's good. It's an enjoyable story, likable cast.
You binge watched this, didn't you?
I binge watch each season when it's done.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all 3 seasons at once, but it's like, all right, season 1's done, watch it all. Season 2's done, you know.
I'm just surprised they got 3 seasons.
Bro, it got its 2nd and 3rd seasons back to back, which is insane. That does not happen.
The 3rd season got announced before 2nd season was even halfway done.
Where the only things that get that kind of treatment are Hero Academia and this.
Yeah.
And that's it.
They announced it dumb early. It's like, yo, we haven't even finished season 2 and you already announced
Yo,
season
we were
3?
3 episodes into season 2 and they're like season 3 coming. I was like, You don't gotta tell me twice.
Oh man, it does a great job of making me want to read because I did go and read after season 1. I was like, oh man, this is dope. Let me read it. Read it. Well, I'm reading it currently and I love it. So I'm actually gonna give it for me, an 8.81.
So an 8.9?
8.819.
Oh, 8.819. So 8.8.
If you want a round.
I do. I would very much like that round.
But yeah, I just really loved it. And
Yeah, it's a solid series. Fun watch.
I want to play D&D so bad now. But that's our review on Overlord. So as always, catch us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
We also, the podcast is on Spotify, Google Music, Apple Music, and we are now on YouTube.
What?
Catch us on YouTube channel, The Nerdie Bunch, as always. And yeah, make sure to check out the other stuff. I think they're gonna do a review soon if they haven't already on the new Avengers trailer. And because I saw it. I'm not gonna say my thoughts. That's their job. And you haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen it.
You're avoiding it.
I'm trying to go in cold, going blind. It's probably not gonna happen because I'm watching Spider-Man tonight. But they're probably gonna have the trailer in there. Like I know they are. I know they are. I'm gonna
because if I can still get a ticket with you, I just got
week
paid.
early, baby.
I fucking hate you. Oh well. Well, on that note, I'm Herb.
And I'm Lens.
Keep it nerdy.